just can't do that, son. You got to stay in there like that.
I just punched you before.
Okay, you pull out like that, the head was back, man. He heads you. Okay?
Give me the water, give me the water, give me
You're
the
all
water.
right. It was a half-ass stumble anyway. Yeah, but you can't do that. Once you get inside.
How'd he do it, John?
Well, he comes back with just a good right hook. He opens up. Haugen is trying to open up, and there it goes. So speed kills. He, I would say he's trying to land too many headshots probably on Camacho. And there he stands straight up. He's got to get lower.
You saw Haugen. He was squared up and straight up. And then just as he was starting to bring his own right hand around as he was squared up, Camacho beat him to the punch with a right hook. And he scores the knockdown. Second time in the career of Greg Haugen that he has hit the floor. Pernell Whitaker did it 2 years ago. He had the 3 fights, very fiery fights with Vinny Pazienza. He never hit the deck against Paz, but Camacho gets to him tonight. Now to the inside goes Haugen, and Camacho chases him back with a series of punches, the last being a right hand upstairs. Now Haugen actually doing a better job here in these opening moments of these fourth round of trying to cut off the ring.
You know what I think part of that is probably, it's funny you say Whitaker and Camacho were the only 2 that knocked him down. That sounds funny because those 2 guys are not known as punchers in the least. And I believe it's because when you win with a guy that's not known as a puncher, subconsciously you have the feeling you can't be hurt.
Interesting.
And you know, that's why a lot of times you see a guy that he'll go the distance with a huge puncher and then get stopped by a guy that has very few knockouts. It's because subconsciously he doesn't have that same level of fear deep within him, and he throws caution to the wind a little bit more. Haugen was trying to load up with Camacho. Camacho turned the tables on him. Normally Camacho throws 1 or 2 and gets out real quickly. Now he stood his ground, threw some power shots. I think that's the last thing in the world Haugen expected to come at him, and I bet you now he's more alert. Mentally he's more alert, and he's going to be tougher because of it.
Strangely enough, John, I like what Haugen's doing here after he had his worst round of the fight so far. At least here, he's not giving so many advantages to Camacho. He's attempting to close the distance, close that range, and maybe make it a little more of a fight and not give so many obvious advantages to Camacho. Right.
Well, again, you know, it's the old thing where they say you wake up a sleeping dog. And he hit him with a good shot. He dropped him. Now he's saying, wow, this guy that can't punch just dropped me. So I have to step my game up. That's what a champion does. Now some guys may say, oh man, the guy's too big of a puncher now. He's going to hurt me, so let me back up and cover up. But he's digging down and actually having his best round here.
Camacho comes back with a straight left hand, but you can see that Haugen is able to cut him off a little bit, able to pressure him a little more.
Now I like what he's doing here. The referee got out of the way and he got right
back
on
in
him.
there.
That's the
right
key.
Back in there.
That's what you have to do with Hector Camacho. You have to get right back on him. I'd like to see him keep his hands up on the way in a little bit better, but the idea, and you can see actually Camacho looks a little bit tired as he backs up. You have to change his pace, because at the outside pace of the first 3 rounds, Camacho's the man.
End of 4. Nice bounce back round from Greg Haugen. Joe Tessitore and John Scully with you for this 140-pound world title fight. 38-0 Hector Camacho in the camouflage trunks, if you want to call those trunks, taking on the former IBF lightweight world champion 2 times over, Greg Haugen, now 30 years old, 27-3, but he made the comment in the pre-fight buildup that he's more inspired for this fight than any of his recent fights, and it's the best he's felt since the second Pazienza fight, which was just over 3 years ago, and really the sharpest that Haugen looked among the 3 Pazienza fights.
I'd like to see him keep up the energy, obviously, that he did the last round. Camacho seems to be pushing his punches slightly. I sense a little bit of that. I think Haugen should use some emotion and try and put the punches together. Corner him on the rope. See, now right there, he should let his hands go. Punch at anything he can hit. Force Camacho to deal with it. And you can't follow Camacho around like that. You can't just let him maneuver. You've got to throw your jabs, throw at something, hit something, dig on the body.
Right hand comes behind the jab. Gets the attention of this Vegas crowd. Greg Haugen, originally from the Seattle area, but he's been living and training in Vegas. He's won his last 2 fights here in Nevada. Of course, he upset Jimmy Paul here 5 years ago, 1986, to win the lightweight title in upset fashion right here in Vegas. So he's won over many of the local boxing fans.
And landed the right hand there. He threw another one. He should be coming back with the left hook. I mean, basic things. Right hand, come back with the left hook. Let your hands go in combination. Try to keep your momentum. Don't let Camacho back into it so much. Don't let him feel like the last round was just an aberration. He should try and show him that he's got a lot of that left in him. Right there, he should dig the body when Camacho bends forward.
Having Camacho with his back against the ropes isn't a bad thing either. It's his position he just had him moments ago.
Sure.
Sends out the straight right.
He should push himself now. Camacho isn't quite as sharp. Now he may regain that soon. So in the meantime, you should want to pile up points, dig his body, try and weaken him a little bit. Like right there, Camacho's movement is not as good as it was.
You're watching Hector Camacho versus Greg Haugen. We pick up the action with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the 6th round. Camacho trying to range fine with that right hand jab again. Haugen trying to corral him in a corner. He's had success here in the middle rounds of this fight. Haugen was knocked down in round number 3. And then all of a sudden started to find his groove in round 4 and 5 and here in round number 6.
And I like what he's doing here where he's letting his right hand go. Even if he doesn't hit anything solid, he forced Camacho to deal with it. The only thing he's not doing, he's not really pumping his jab as well, which it looks like he could, but being in there is not the same thing. Camacho's got a good jab, but I'd like to see Haugen try to make Camacho deal with his jab. And right there, with Camacho walking away like that, he should jump on him before Camacho can get his stance together, before he can get his balance together. Like right there, work on that body. Fight him back. Don't let Camacho get the last lick in and move away. Like right there, get on him again. Keep on him.
Haugen doing a really good job of just trying to make it more of a fight. You saw the success that John pointed out with the 4-punch combination and the left hand that finished up to the body. That's exactly what he needs to do. Take away those legs of the speedy Hector Camacho.
Exactly. He's got a plan for later in the fight. He has to do things now that will pay off later. Like right there, don't wait. Don't let Camacho dictate this. He should get on him and be first right now.
Camacho testing the jab. Haugen a jab of his own.
Right, but that one jab at a time, that's not going to work with Camacho. Definitely not. He's got to pump that jab, because he has a good jab. He has a very good jab, Haugen does. But he's got to throw 2 or 3 with this guy.
Camacho went to the body there. End of the 6th round. Back half of this world title fight. Greg Haugen, 7-1 underdog. Hector Camacho, the undefeated champion, 3-division champion. Camacho trying to chart the course for his immediate future. He's been putting out that name of Julio Cesar Chavez, the great Mexican fighter. Nothing is set, but the buzz in the boxing biz is that Camacho and Chavez could meet up down the road. Camacho scored a knockdown earlier tonight. Spray paints a right hand in there against Haugen. That happened in the third round when Haugen opened up and Camacho's hand speed delivered a good right hook that floored Haugen. Only the second time in his career that he's been knocked down. Of course, Haugen, a real tough customer. Remember, this is the guy who got his start in those tough man contests in Alaska. Three-punch combination from the Macho Man.
Now he's got to answer him back. He just let Camacho get away with a three-punch combination and now about 3 or 4 jabs without doing anything in return. So you've got to put mental as well as physical pressure on this guy. You have to work there. Like even right there, even with the punching and the pushing and the shoving, make it a tough night. Not just a tough boxing night, but make it physical. Haugen's a strong guy. He's got to get in there and make it a different kind of fight. Because the way it's going so far, I'd say Camacho's a little bit ahead of him as far as trading just punches.
That's a little more of the sense of the fight he needs it to be. He needs exchanges like that, some reckless work on the inside, but he's the one that needs to be doing the scoring, like Haugen.
Definitely. And he has to answer Camacho back. You can't let Camacho throw 3 or 4 punches and then move around. Like right there. Now Camacho gets off a couple jabs. Now he moves and he dictates what happens next. Haugen has to get on him. He has to throw punches. He has to risk missing him. He has to throw punches at anything he can hit to find his range.
Haugen trying to cut him off. Gets to the inside, but it was Camacho who let the hands go, and now back to the double jab. Veteran southpaw now on the inside. He gets the last word. It's a much better round for Camacho.
I'll say one thing. Haugen gets the right hand in there. Even when he doesn't land a flush, he hits something with it. He should definitely throw more right hands and come back with left hooks off of it.
5 rounds to go from Caesar's Palace.